Hello. It's nice to be here. I've been sitting on this story for a little while and I feel grateful that it feels like it's time to tell the story. So I wanted to start with a little bit of context. I'm 42 and my husband or partner is 48 and we have a child, a 2-year-old, and we always wanted another one. And before we had Patrick, who's our 2-year-old, actually going back even further, I had cancer when I was 12, just before I hit puberty. And the doctors always said to me, we don't know if you'll be able to have children. We don't know how it's going to impact on your fertility. And that was the chemotherapy aspect of the experience. So I was always told, you'll have to wait and see whether you're going to be able to have children. Wow, that hit a chord. And so shortly after my partner and I got together, I actually fell pregnant. And about 5 weeks in, I had a miscarriage. And it was, at the time, I was devastated I had the miscarriage, but I moved through it the grief pretty quickly, and was quick to realise the gifts that came with having had that experience. A couple of things, and that being that I could have children. That was no minor gift. But that, we realised we wanted to have children, and also, we were organising a marriage to get a wedding, and it made me realise that actually we were going to have this big celebration, a big traditional ceremony, and it made us both realise that actually we just wanted to have ourselves and our parents. So it was really a gift. But then when we were ready, I was like, I really didn't want to have another miscarriage. So I said to my husband, I know this wonderful homeopath. I'd really like to get her to support us with having another baby. So he agreed, although he was adamant that we didn't need help, but he was happy for me to have the support I felt I needed. So she was great, and within a couple of months we conceived Patty. And it was an interesting process because basically I had to put drops on my skin, and she got me to monitor when I was ovulating using this tool called Maybe Baby, and you basically monitor your saliva. So that was all fine, but it was pretty, it was a bit of an effort. And Fergal and I always said that, we'd like to have a second baby. Perhaps you would say it was a third. And I was, Patty's 2, and I was like, I felt like my body, I felt like I was ready to have another one. And I was like, will we get some support, and how is this going to unfold? And, I shared our ages before because something that we've been exposed to, interestingly enough, is people telling us what the probability is of us being able to conceive naturally. And luckily, we've only had one particular person tell us, but luckily me and Fergal made a real joke out of it, and we really didn't buy into any of the statistics. And we were saying, we're the 1%ers, because apparently it's only 1% possibility. Who knows? I don't know if that's true. I never looked into it. But I was very conscious of not wanting to buy into any of those statistics or probabilities. And so I felt like I was ready, and I was like, right, so do I need to get support from the naturopath? And funnily enough, late last year, when Patty and I went on a spontaneous road trip, we actually dropped in and visited the naturopath because She lives up in northern New South Wales and hadn't met Patty, and I thought, oh, how lovely. And so it was interesting, and when I was visiting her, she said to me, oh, are you going to have another one? And I said, yeah, we'd love to have another one. And she goes, oh, I'll be able to support you again. And I had a very strong voice saying inside of me, no. I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I had a real sense that I wanted to do it on our own. And I thought, oh, how am I going to know? Like, I when we got back and I saw that I still had the maybe baby in the cupboard, and I was like, oh, will I start monitoring to know when I'm ovulating? And it just came up in me, and I thought, no, I'm just going to trust. I'm going to trust. And I know that that's not a big deal for some women, because I know some women know when they're ovulating, which I think is amazing. But I'm not one of those women. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to trust. So who knows how I'm going to know? Or maybe I won't know, and you know, we'll just conceive the baby anyway. So that's basically the backstory. And one day I went and picked up Patty from my girlfriend's house, and we're driving home, and Patty started to indicate that he wanted me to pull over. And I was like, oh, it was probably about 5:36, and I thought, oh, well, you know, we don't have to be home for anything in particular. My husband doesn't normally get home till about 7:30, so I thought, oh, okay. Well, I said to him, okay, Patty, we'll pull over when the road condition allows us to. And anyway, for anyone who knows the area I live in, we were coming along the top of a cliff, coming along the top of Oliver's Hill. And there's all these beautiful cliff top homes. And I pulled in out of the traffic onto the nature strip. And Patty and I hopped out of the car, and we hopped out in front of this gorgeous home. And we were just sitting on the nature strip, and we were just playing. And then I looked up, and I saw the house number, and it was 666. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. That's the second time today I had noticed this number 666. We were in the process of selling my mum's car, and I had to write down how many kilometres it had done. And it just stood out to me when I wrote down the number. 666 was in the number. And I thought, oh, that's 666 twice in one day. And it really jumped out at me, and I thought, oh, I'll have to Google the symbology around 666. And anyway, funnily enough, as it turned out, Patty ended up walking into the drive of this house, and he was indicating that he wanted to go inside. And this is a bit of a side story, but it just indicates to me how intuitive Patty is. And I was like, oh, I have a funny thing about other people's properties, and you know, I actually don't think there's a problem if someone wants to go onto your property, if they go up and seek permission. So I said to Patty, okay, and I'm standing there going, oh, you know, some people might think it's wrong, but I thought, no, we'll just go in. And I said, look, we'll go up and say hello, we'll knock on the door. And so, funnily enough, as we were walking down this big drive, we look up in the house, and there was a couple of kids. And Patty pointed up at them and was pretty excited. And the dad looked out of the house, and he was like, what are you doing? And he comes out of the house. And I explained to him, I said, oh, look, my son just wanted to come in and say hello. And he kind of looked at me like, what? But luckily, at that time, his son came out of the door, and his wife came out. And she's like, oh, that's fine. She obviously understood what little people are like. And so Patty's climbed up the stairs to their front door, and he, you know, starting to play with the little boy. And then he's walked into the house, and I was like, oh, hope you don't mind. And we walked in, and they had the most amazing toys. This beautiful red sports car, and Patty's run up to it, jumped in it, and I was like, oh my God, great pick. Like, if you're going to pick a house to go into, why not pick one with good toys? And so he played around in there for a little while, and then their little boy jumped up and went running down the hallway, and I thought, oh, Patty indicated he wanted to follow, and I thought, oh, that we've probably stayed long enough. So anyway, we left, and you know, I said thank you, and we left. And I came home, and when I got a moment, I googled 666, and what I do is that, you know, there's lots of interpretations and possibilities, and I just read them and just look, feel for what resonates with me. And I'm reading along, and then all of a sudden it says fertility. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, wow, I must be ovulating. And then, yeah. Fergal came home that night, and I didn't say anything. I didn't assume anything, but yeah, the whole thing just naturally unfolded. And we conceived a baby. So yes, we have baby number 2 or 3 on the way. And I'm 3 months. And oh. Oh, I'm absolutely thrilled. Oh, it just feels like such a gift. Such a gift. And it was so easy. And I thought, it's interesting because my girlfriend Ali often says, life is as easy as we make it. And I thought, wow. And really for the whole first trimester, I was like, am I really pregnant? Am I really pregnant? And I made Fergal and Patty come along to the first scan, and I got them both. They were both holding a hand each, and I was like, oh my God, there may not be a baby, there may not be a baby. And there it was. So, yeah, life is as simple as we make it. And in this story, it was really just about, trust was a really big thing for me. Trusting and then reading life and watching what unfolds. Okay. Thank you. Bye.